Hi, everybody. Tonight I want to talk to you about the subject of who we really are versus who we created ourselves or this image that other people might think we are. So basically, it's about being our authentic self. How do we get back to our authentic self? Well, I started thinking about that. Let's go back to why we started changing to begin with. So maybe we started changing because we felt like a title would make us more important. So if you're a little girl that always dreamed of being married and had children, maybe your title, your identity got wrapped up eventually in being a wife and a mom. So maybe if you're a little boy, you dreamed of making tons of money and being the boss of somebody, and because that's a lot of times where men feel they get their significance. So you decided, I want to be this title, I want to do this for a living, I want to go to this college, and because of that, I'm going to be, I'm going to be somebody. So you have your identity wrapped up in a title. And we tend to think that all of these titles and these accolades are going to make us feel better. But really, deep down inside, we have something in our hearts that was never meant to be filled by stuff on the outside. We were created to be whole and have everything we need without needing anybody else's approval. So I started thinking about that. Who was I? Who am I? Who was I before I ever became anything with a title? So I'll give you an example. When both of my boys were 4 years old, one's 22 right now and the other is 10, both of them at 4 years old asked me the same question. And that is, where did I come from? Well, one of them rephrased it differently. He asked, who thought of me before I was here? So they both had the understanding that they came from somewhere else before they were ever here. There's something in them that may have had a purpose and a destiny for being here. And at 4 years old, they kind of got that. And so those questions have never left me. Who thought of me before I was ever here? So even thinking about that, if you think about your gifts and talents and your DNA and how you were even born with the personality that you have, your personality basically is who you are. Your gifts, talents, and core values are who you are. So who was I before I ever became anything that I was ever doing? So if I was a cheerleader, a golf player, a college student, a firefighter, all of these are things that I've done. If I were a dancer, not exotic dancer, just a dancer, talking about when I was a kid. If I were any of these things, who was I? And, looking back, I thought about when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, and I was hanging out with my grandma and the kind of personality that I had. I was always very, very joyful and very intrigued by people and wanted to get to know people. And to this day, that is who I am. Over the years, that got squished by somebody I was trying to be, to prove to others and myself that I could do certain things and, attain certain titles. But there was a certain point in my life when all of those things felt like they were nothing. And I felt purposeless because I wasn't doing anything that I loved to do. I had a job, but I didn't feel like I had a life work. And I felt like, who would listen to the things that are in my heart, and why would it matter to them? But those things kept coming back and coming to the surface, and to where I couldn't fight them anymore. And now I realize all of those things that are inside of me, the desire to communicate, the desire to enlighten people, the desire to encourage people, they were all meant to be part of my destiny. They weren't meant to be just a hobby. They were meant to be at the forefront of who I am. And everybody that is listening, you all have gifts, talents, and core values, qualities that you might take for granted because they're so natural, but they are the very essence of who you are. You know, if you are a jokester, that's wonderful. Make people laugh because this world needs laughter. If you are a teacher, teach. Teach with passion and be excited about calling yourself a teacher. You don't have to have a degree to teach. I don't have a degree to teach, and I know I'm teaching right now. You know, but I shied away. I felt unworthy. I fought my calling for so long. And I know a lot of other people out there do the same because we think we have to be endorsed by somebody else in order to be our own gifts and talents, if that makes sense. And we don't. God endorsed us when he put us here with the personalities that we have, and that is enough. We were promoted with a stamp of approval the minute that we were born. We are the measure of our own worth. And that worth is based on being loved enough to be created. Now, people may hurt us and people may have done stupid things, but that isn't a reflection of your destiny. And that doesn't mean your destiny has to stop because of somebody's lack of knowledge of their purpose or lack of even love. You know, that don't let that stop you because of the way somebody else treated you. So go back and think, just take off every title that you have. Boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, sister. Take away all the titles. And what are you left with? Who are you? You know, maybe listen to some music, put some music on that you love, have a glass of wine or some coffee, and just sit with yourself and think about, wow, what am I good at? Don't be shy. Think about what you're good at, what you're not good at, what excites you, what gets you going. What are compliments that people say about you that, you know, you take for granted? Whether it's, I mean, you know, anything, gardening, writing, singing, whatever it is, organizing. Don't take those things for granted. It's part of your gift and share it with the world. So anyway, go back, unpeel the layers of your beautiful self and start figuring out who you really are without any labels or any titles, no religious labels. I'm a Christian, I'm a Buddhist, I'm blah, 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 blah. That's nothing. I'm sorry. It's nothing. You are a follower of ways. If you're a Christian, that just means you follow the ways of Jesus, which was love, mercy, kindness, forgiveness. It means that's who you are. Stop labeling yourself. Just because you have beliefs does not mean you have to label yourself and declare it to the world. It just means be who you are authentically. All right, guys, have a good night. God bless you.